today, and it shows us that even if we lost all of the 5,000 plus early Greek manuscripts, if we lost all of the thousands of Latin Vulgates, and even all the thousands of other ancient manuscripts, we would still be able to reconstruct all but 11 verses of the New Testament from the writings of the early Christian church leaders who quoted from them extensively. Isn't this amazing? The New Testament we have today is very reliable. There are also many writings outside the Bible text that come from non-Christian sources. These writings also confirm events of the New Testament. Many of these non-Christian sources directly mention Jesus and the rise of Christianity. Some of these non-biblical sources include Roman historian Cornelius Tacitus, around 55 to 120 AD. He writes, "Consequently, to get rid of the report, Nero fastened the guilt and inflicted the most exquisite tortures on a class hated for their abominations, called Christians by the populace. Christus, from whom the name had its origin, suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of one of our procurators, Pontius Pilatus. And a most mischievous superstition, thus checked for the moment, again broke out not only in Judea, the first source of the evil, but even in Rome, where all things hideous and shameful from every part of the world find their center and become popular." And describing the persecution of Christians under Nero, around 64 AD, "Their execution was made into a game. They were covered with the skins of wild animals and torn to pieces by dogs. They were hung on crosses. They were burned, wrapped in flammable material and set on fire to illuminate the night. To escape death, they had but to repudiate Christ and sacrifice to the emperor. Some did, but many more were tortured to death rather than deny their Lord." Jewish general Flavius Josephus, 1st century AD, he writes, "At this time there was a wise man who was called Jesus, and his conduct was good, and he was known to be virtuous, and many people from among the Jews and other nations became his disciples. Pilate condemned him to be crucified and to die, and those who had become his disciples did not abandon his discipleship. They reported that he had appeared to them 3 days after his crucifixion, and that he was alive. Accordingly, he was perhaps the Messiah concerning whom the prophets have recounted wonders." An account from Roman governor Pliny the Younger, 1st century AD, he writes, "I interrogated them whether they were Christians. If they confessed it, I repeated the question twice again, adding the threat of capital punishment. If they still persevered, I ordered them to be executed. For whatever the nature of their creed might be, I could at least feel no doubt that contumacy and inflexible obstinacy deserved chastisement. There were others also possessed with the same infatuation, but being citizens of Rome, I directed them to be carried thither." And finally, Roman secretary and historian Suetonius. "Punishment by Nero was inflicted on the Christians, a class of men given to a new and mischievous superstition." These are all historical evidences from sources that were not sympathetic to the cause of Christianity or to the person of Jesus Christ. In a court of law, a witness that's either indifferent or antagonistic to the matter in question can be the most powerful testimony available. I was born in a Catholic family, but from boyhood I grew up with no church, no Bible study, little or no talk about God or relationship with Him. I was basically agnostic, even atheist. In school I studied math and science and was alone. Less than 5 years ago, I emotionally crashed, having another midlife crisis. I was very confused, afraid, and insecure. I went to an alcohol and addiction treatment facility and got started with the 12-step program. I eventually was open to the concept of a higher power, but I didn't know what it was. I thought, if there is a God, where is he? On a mountain? In a church? Is he close or far away? In recovery from prodigal living and during my search through various religions, I started to read the Bible. I was moved by the words and stories of Jesus in the Gospels. They touched my heart and made me cry. They gave me wisdom and taught me about myself and spoke to me personally, unlike anything I've ever known or experienced. I continued to study the Bible and investigate a variety of churches. I also studied and practiced some Buddhism and a couple of meditation paths we could call New Age. But neither Buddhism nor the meditation practices helped me the way the Bible and Jesus did. I fell in love with Jesus, and he has given me lasting peace and satisfaction that the other paths and practices did not do. By the grace of Christ, I have not smoked or drank in almost 5 years. Jesus has set me free. I have been delivered, and by him I am staying delivered. Since then, I study or read the Bible almost every day. I have come to believe that Jesus is my Savior and that the Bible is the Word of truth. I also accept and believe that Jesus is the way, the truth, the life, and that no one comes to the Father except through him. I have learned about many false religions, traditions, and spiritual paths that have some help, but are they true? And can they give salvation? Jesus and the Bible have helped me much. Speaking of the Bible and the words of God, Jesus said, "The words I speak to you are spirit and they are life."